This podcast is a part of the Royal We Network.
Spit on me.
Okay, so we tried one that was too much banter. We tried to do a banter whole episode.
Yeah.
That didn't really work. And then we tried one with no banter, and that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could just ease back into the banter a little bit. And to do that, I believe the defense has some evidence they'd like to show the court.
Oh yeah, yeah. I ran across one because normally you do all the researching on the grease.
Well, hold on. I wouldn't go ahead and use a big fancy word like research.
Yeah, I ran across one that it's right in our wheelhouse, and I was like,
Okay.
I've got to read this on here. Okay, so here we go. I guess you'd say this would be in the foreign lands drawer.
Oh,
What's one of our favorite foreign lands?
Japan.
The one,
China.
the one that I love so much. It's always blowing shit up.
Oh, Russia.
Russia. Okay.
I went around the world first.
Malawi's up there now too. They've got vampires and all. Okay. A Russian Defense Ministry report claims its elite soldiers can crash computers with their minds and read documents inside a safe after mastering telepathy from dolphins.
Wow.
Right?
And that had to end with from dolphins.
Right.
But wait a minute. Are they, so they,
I don't know. I just read the headline. I was like, whoop, don't read any further because I've got to tell Sam about this one.
that creates so are they saying that if dolphins taught them how to do that, then dolphins are telepathic and dolphins can do this?
I'm guessing they found, yeah, that's what it says. A Russian Defense Ministry report from the Defense Ministry claims its elite soldiers can crash computers with their minds and read documents inside a safe after mastering telepathy from dolphins, plural.
I'm going to say it's not true because we're hearing about it.
Because of a lot of stuff, right?
Well, because a lot of stuff for sure. Well, there was the LSD experiments the American government did with the Menastera goats.
Yep.
The porn parody Menastera scroats.
Scroats.
Yeah. They were trying to do the same thing. So I guess maybe they were staring at the wrong animal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it wasn't goats, it was dolphins.
It was dolphins. But what have dolphins done? Like where's the proof to start with that dolphins are even telepathic? You think we would have heard about that first? So that would have been knowledge. Be like, okay, apparently there are telepathic dolphins. And people have now learned how to read documents inside of a safe by being taught by telepathic dolphins. That's bonkers.
Well, we went on that whole thing about dolphins that were trying to teach a dolphin to they were trying to teach a dolphin to speak English.
Right.
And that was they couldn't do that. But then a dolphin.
Is that the one they had living inside that inside out house or whatever?
Yeah.
Full of water? Yeah. Yeah, for people who don't know what we're talking about, I don't remember what episode. That was way back, but that one blew my mind. They did this experiment in, the 60s? 70s?
70s, I want to say.
Yeah, and they took a house.
We don't know.
Yeah, they took a house and filled it with water and then put dolphins in it and tried to teach them how to speak English. And all that ended up happening was the dolphins figured out that if they didn't do anything, for some reason this woman jerked them off. So they would just not do any work because they kept getting hand jobs.
I think that they were horny and they kept humping on her. And then she figured out they were horny. So then she did that to make them less horny.
Yeah. Anyway.
In my experience, everyone who's ever given me a hand job just makes me more horny in the presence.
Yeah.
That's my scientific data.
Makes me not want to speak English too.
Well, let's imagine a world where the problem was English. Maybe Russian is an easier language for dolphins. There's got to be you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've thought about this a lot because we live in Asia, we're trying to learn Chinese, and a lot of times it comes up is Chinese a more efficient system? Mm-hmm. You know, we have science. Why can't we figure out what language is the best?
Right. And if you have because I have heard that dolphins have their own language. They speak to each other with squeaks and sonar and stuff, and they can communicate.
Right.
Because and perform organized tasks like herding up fish and shit like that, and they can communicate. So maybe it's just that English is so far different, obviously, from their language.
Yeah.
But then Russian,
and they don't have lips.
Yeah, and then Russian is kind of a lot of you think they'd be good at that click language?
All of Russia has a lot of. I've not once ever heard it put that way, for sure.
It's just a lot close. It ended up just being a lot closer, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we understand you guys." And they're like, "Hey, check this out. You want to learn how to be telepathic?" And Russia's like, "Fuck yes."
Where do we sign, comrade?
Bring it on.
Well, I just realized, I mean, this isn't really banter. You just started that's a headline.
Yeah, that's the headline right off the bat. We just started.
Well, okay, welcome to another episode of The Royal We. I'm Sam.
I'm Nate. Yeah, we just went straight on the headline.
You just snuck one in. You snuck one in at the cold open. What we normally do is we take headlines and we read them, but we actually don't click them. We don't learn about what the article is. We just read the headline.
Yeah.
And we have a conjecture-based comedy podcast conversation about, well, what's all that now?
Yeah.
If you want to send us headlines, and you guys can do that at Royal Weecast on Twitter or royalweecast@gmail.com. You can also join us live at twitch.tv/Royal Weecast. We got we had two. We have one viewer in the chat now.
Fuck this.
If you want to send us headlines, you can do them right now. Yeah, one guy was like, "I'm out."
You know, what's the?
He was a Russian guy. He said, also at the end of the episode, we do click one article, figure out what it's about, and we try to avoid the bummers, which we are terrible at.
We've managed it the past couple weeks. We've not had any bummers. Last week I think was the opposite of a bum. Wasn't that one? What was last week? See, I can't remember shit from week to week.
I don't even know. I mean, I remember
we probably talk about the same four things.
Yeah, generally. Well, I got a blast in the past. You ready for a callback?
Yeah.
This is something we've talked about before. I'm not sure. We may have talked about this exact thing before. I don't remember. But here's a headline I found. This is in the science and technology drawer. We got two good ones here. Scientists have taught spinach to send emails.
Yes, we've talked about that. God damn it.
Was that specifically what we talked about? Because I remember they taught spinach to sniff bombs.
That's what it was.
But now they're sending emails.
What? Have we talked about this? If so, this is too...
I know. I feel like maybe we did.
How smart is fucking spinach, too? Smart enough to send an email.
Do they hook it up to a machine, or does the spinach somehow manipulate a computer? No.
I don't know. Like, you know, honestly, I don't even know how to start to think about that. Like, I don't know what they do.
Do you think it's a situation like at my old school, I had tomatoes, and the like technology teacher, he gave me a humidity device and he stuck it in the soil near my tomatoes, and he hooked that up to a pump, and every time the humidity in the soil dropped to a certain level, it would just trigger the pump and it would water my tomatoes.
Right. Okay.
Do you think that's what they mean?
They could. It's gotta be. It's not like the thing is going, oh man, I need to coordinate with carrots on this project we're doing. So it like
having a big party this weekend.
Yeah.
Don't invite Pumpkin, man. Pumpkin's out of control.
Yeah, Pumpkin. We can't have after last time. We gotta have a talk with Pumpkin before we have him back. But yeah, it's got to be something like that. Like they're sticking something in the soil or attaching it to it, and when it does something, like I said, I don't even know. I don't know what spinach does that could send an email.
I remember we clicked the article about them sniffing bombs, and it was something to do with carbon nanotubes. It was some like high level science that we don't understand because we're just too simple. We're too simple internet boys.
Right. And it's funny because like anytime science does something we don't understand, we act just like fucking cavemen and go, what are they doing? What a bunch of dummies. They're not fucking dummies. If they figured out how to make spinach send emails, you're not stupid. I don't even know how spinach works, and they're getting it to fucking use a computer. There are humans on this planet that don't know how to send an email.
Oh, in a royal, yeah, dude. I told you about that guy. I told you about that guy who I was in school, and he would just type dirt bikes. This is before you could just use the search bar at the top, the URL as a Google search. He would just go dirt bikes, and it would go, I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what this is. Like in Netscape, he would type it into Netscape.
Oh yeah.
I was like, buddy, you gotta like go to like Ask Jeeves or Alta Vista or something. And he's like, show me. Dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes.
Someone in a Royal We First just linked a headline to us in the chat. Should I break that off right away?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this is they're putting in they're sprinkling in spices into the sausage as it's getting made.
Yeah. So you got to respond. Yeah.
I got it. I mean, you got to. This is the special sauce.
We'll get back because I don't know what the fuck's going on with spinach sniffing bombs and doing it. So that's two things they've taught spinach.
I mean, if you're counting.
Yeah, but I mean, are there other vegetables? We need to look and see if there's other vegetables that they've taught how to do stuff.
That'll be even. Do we ever research? Because like we'll click the article sometimes, but I've never gone further.
There's a few I have. Multiple times I've dove into that giant cockroach factory in China because that just starts.
I know.
It just starts melting my mind. They had to build a moat around it.
I always think whenever there's zombie apocalypse movies, they don't really show the world going to shit in a realistic way, if you ask me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's stuff going on that if people would just disappear, would just get out of hand.
Yeah, like there's shit in places like that. They never think about like what. I mean, I'm sure there's fail safes in place, but like nuclear power plants and shit fuck up when people are there. Like, what happens when people just go away? Do these things just turn off?
I would imagine if there's no input, it's probably safer than just fucking with it.
True. But eventually something's got to happen. Fucking 100 years from now. Like,
I mean, if you leave the spinach alone,
the spinach will find the nuclear plant.
Nonsense it's gonna get. So here's one submitted. Here's one submitted by the chat. It's got a subheading. I'm not gonna read it all as one heading. This is from Scientific American. Nathan, respectable source.
That's the name of the person in chat who sent it.
No, that's Captain OCD in chat, buddy of mine.
Yeah.
The pigeon as art critic. How a bird can discriminate between good art and bad.
Oh God, triggered.
Now, I've not met a person that's really good at doing this.
Because it's all subjective. We went to art school.
Do you remember when we went to art school? This is one of my favorite days, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say.
I know where you're going. It's when they had the non-art people critique art.
They had the web programmers who weren't artists.
Yeah.
They had the programmers and us in the same class, and they made us do an art project that was critiqued by a panel of other artists, and the programmers could not handle it.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out what we were doing. They couldn't wrap their head around the idea of the idea of a critique. We're like, no, that's what you do. It's like you're not kicking the shit out of somebody. You're being like,
it's not personal, man. They're just talking about what you did.
No, it's not personal.
But every single one of them got upset. Every single, and they were like defiant. They were like arguing with it, and we're like, guys, just shut up and take the critique.
It was. I remember, because I think you said a couple rows behind me. I remember at one point turning around and looking at you and like nodding, like
I had the biggest grin. I loved it. I was
like you could feel it sink in, and I turned around and looked at you and was like, you're seeing this, right? Like, what are we witnessing? Like, this is.
I remember this guy just drew like a squid, he just drew like a picture of a squid. Cause like also it was a little bit of a setup, those poor programmers. Mm-hmm. The lady teaching the class was like a kindergarten teacher. She had that kind of vibe. She was like, just do whatever. It was like towards the end of our degree. So she's like, just, explore the space, do whatever you want to do. Like, just make some art.
Yeah. Do something in your style
right.
Yeah.
But then surprise, we brought in a panel of teachers to critique it, which, us and we were designers. So we were like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. But these programmers were like, they bared their soul, like doing some art that they've never weren't, they're not artists. So they're like, okay, I did this thing.
Right.
And the critiques were like, well, did you reference any material when you drew that squid? Or he's like, I just drew a goddamn squid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they're just getting so angry.
Yeah, he said it was setting them up because you're taking people creative people who were at the end of a degree, teaching them how to hone their art craft and learn all these principles and all these things. And that's what they're wanting to see when they critique it. They're like, show us what you learned, basically. Even if you're doing whatever you want, show us the shit you've learned. And then you got people who were just programmers who were mastering a completely different craft some of them probably never drew anything in their life.
No, right.
And then they've came in and been like, hey, okay, this is the first thing I ever drew. It's a squid.
Well, I did. I don't remember what your project was.
I don't remember.
What did you do? Do you remember?
I drew that picture of me and you looking over at Gary.
Oh yeah, but you can actually draw. So that like, what did they say? They said like it wasn't in a frame or something, right?
Yeah, like they couldn't come up with something.
Well, because I did a perler bead. I did like a perler bead portrait of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like so surprised of like, because first of all, that took me like 8 hours to do. It was probably the hardest I worked the whole time I was at that school. I just took a picture of you and pixelated it and then made it out of little beads, plastic beads.
Yeah.
And then ironed it flat. And they were like, cool.
Yeah. I wonder whatever happened to that.
I know, that's somewhere. Did I give it to you?
No, you didn't give it to me. You made a ton of those things.
I know. I don't know what happened. It's in a landfill somewhere. That doesn't biodegrade. That'll be around for thousands of years.
Be here with the cockroaches.
Anyway, we didn't even begin to discuss this topic, how a bird can discriminate between good art and bad. How did they teach a bird that?
I don't know.
Do you imagine that that they just trained the bird to determine the particular scientist's taste in art?
Yeah, I'm wondering how there's not any type of manipulation there, because you could get a bird, like if you show a bird two things, and then you're like, no, bird, this one is good and that one's bad.
No, bird. Yes, bird.
Yeah, when it walks over to the bad painting, you go, no, bird. And then it walks over to the good pain and you're like, good bird. And you give it like a sunflower seed. Someone's like, oh, do you think it could? But then it's just going to, I don't know. Is it going to figure, like maybe a fucking raven or something might figure it out. Ravens are smart.
But this is pigeon. It says pigeon.
Oh, that's right. Pigeon. Pigeons don't do much. All goddamn day.
Well, I told you about those pigeon guided missiles, right?
Maybe
They would put a pigeon in front of a screen and show it a boat, like way down in the water, a boat.
Oh shit!
And if it wasn't a boat, first it shows a screen with like a dot, and if it pecked the dot, it would give it some sunflower seeds, whatever. Mm-hmm. So then they put it in a missile, and the boat in the water was the dot, and it would just peck the boat, and it would guide the missile towards the boat.
What a jump!
I know. I mean, top brain. Someone came up with that, and then they made it.
This had to be like what, World War II?
I'd love to know about the weapons we don't know about. You know what I mean? Like the ones that didn't make it past the drawing board. Mm-hmm. Someone's like, nah, buddy.
You can look, the ones that they're like, because they made like similar.
Sorry. Someone in chat said, why not use a person? Because the bird's in the missile.
Yeah.
The bird is inside the missile in chat.
The bird is guiding the missile. The first guided missile system.
We can't put a person in there.
Don't tell the Japanese that. Too soon. I think this was in World War II also, but was it the Germans? Somebody put bombs on bats. They would catch the bats at night, put bombs on them, turn them back loose.
It's got a ring to it.
Yeah, bombs on bats. And then they would fly back into the houses to roost in like civilian neighborhoods, and then the timers would go off on the bombs and blow up and kill people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, dude,
Bat bomb.
Give people the means to just be the craziest dickheads to each other, and they come up with do you know what I mean?
Yeah, batshit crazy. Well, there's so much which is hilarious that there's rules for war. I guess I'm glad there are, because who knows what the fuck will be going on. But that's a funny idea to be like, hey, listen, you guys can kill each other this way, but you can't kill each other this way. It's not fair. And there's like rules. Geneva Convention, right?
So then those people are like, well, okay, well, I guess we'll then take those birds and teach them to judge our, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with all these trained birds?
Indiscriminately killing civilians with bats. Yeah.
Remove government.
That's nuts.
Imagine if it was one bird, because some birds live a long time. It's like, man, I was just working in a missile place, and now I'm judging art. Man, life is crazy. People see him, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering if there are really old animals like that who start to figure it out just before they die. Like those fucking 200-year-old turtles. And after a minute, they're like, what? Hold up.
There's like a tortoise or something that died that like belonged to Charles Darwin that died like recently.
Yeah. There's some old fucking things knocking around, man.
Wait a minute. Let me back up. My brain just clicked into what you just said. You said animals that have been around long enough that it began to click. They like started to figure shit out. Like, wait, hold on a second. I'm with it now.
Just, you're so used to my bullshit.
I know. I just go, oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you would think if they have any sort of brain development, because we don't have the same mindset now that we did 10 years ago or 20 years, for however long, or your brain changes.
You and me,
everybody, I guess, for the most part. I mean, as you live and you learn stuff, your mind changes.
But do you think like a parrot, because parrots can live to be like 200, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if their brains
80
if their brains work exactly the same. But maybe after a while they're they've seen enough stuff and that's in their own bird-brained way. They're just kind of all right, I kind of figure out what's going on here. I kind of get how these things work that walk around and feed me, and I kind of get that I think I see other birds outside that seem like they don't even know what my life is. And they might draw some weird disconnect, and then they die.
What I don't understand though is, but why does that take time? I think that the animals like dogs and stuff, they probably do figure that out. But why does that take a long time? I'm sure a dog's yeah, this is my human and he feeds me.
Sure, but
you mean become aware on a bigger way? That's Joe Biden and where's my stimulus?
I don't think more on the terms of that's Joe Biden. I don't know what the fuck I mean, man.
Take the brain, take it out, put it in a shark's head.
Put it in the shark. You put the dog's brain in a shark body. Oh, this reminded me of something just a minute ago.
Oh, go ahead.
The older things get, the more flavor they have. Because I remember us having a thing talking about how old-ass turtles must taste delicious if, they're just full of flavor. Not spreadable, but full of flavor.
I think the name of that episode was Not Spreadable.
Yeah.
Apparently turtles are delicious, apparently.
I don't think I've ever had turtle. I've eaten a lot of stuff. I've never had a turtle.
We can get it here.
Yeah.
They'll serve you a soup in its shell.
We can go pretend to be Shredder.
I want the turtles. I don't know how Shredder talks. I don't even know what that was. Okay, science and technology.
Tonight I dine on turtle soup.
He's like that? He's like, ha!
Kind of.
We got one more. Talking about Shredder. This is like Shredder. Real life cyborg.
We didn't figure out about the birds at all. We didn't figure out how they could learn shit. I don't know.
Is there more to say? I mean, I don't know.
No.
What kind of bird? I mean, it's all they like still lifes of like vegetables. Like, this is great. This is great. Corn. Love it.
Paintings of seeds?
Perfect. People? No, bad.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Technology drawer.
Real life. Someone in the chat. Oh, this is only one person in the chat. My buddy Captain OCD. He Googled. He's given us a lot of context. I'm not sure exactly this is the kind of show where we want context, but it is funny what he just pasted. He says that the birds in the missiles were came up with a guy named B.F. Skinner. And from the wiki, it said Skinner, who had some success with the training, complained, "Our problem was no one would take us seriously." That's also our problem, really.
Well, I mean, we're asking for it.
I've always said, if we were in charge of a think tank, I bet you we'd be pretty successful. Because we've got a real, like, no such thing as bad ideas vibe, you know? Mm-hmm. We don't do so well on the execution part.
Yeah.
But if we just need to, like, drum up ideas.
Yeah.
You know? Like, okay, how can we spend our money to do good in the world? We'd be like, all right, okay, take a dog, cut off its head. No bad ideas. You give it arms. You make it man-shaped. Okay, take blankets, sew them together, cover the trees. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud. You go. No bad ideas. Make things better. First thing comes to your head.
But the first thing that came to my head was, let's experiment with other vegetables and see what we can teach them to do.
There you go. Hey.
They'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, they've taught spinach how to sniff bombs and how to, what was the other, send an email. Yep. It's like, so let's experiment. Like, what can asparagus do? A potato? It lives in the ground. Maybe it can detect landmines. No bad ideas.
No bad ideas. I bet you mushrooms can learn.
Oh yeah. What was that show we watched where they figured out that like psilocybin, like the universe is connected by mushroom spores or some shit?
That was Star Trek Discovery, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
You sound so disappointed in yourself.
Yeah, because that show should just be forgotten.
That's right. Dude, that show was such a tease because like the first 3 episodes were like, wow, Star Trek, space is so fun. And then we're like, they keep adding characters and plot lines. What is happening?
No, I mean, we could talk a whole episode about us experiencing that.
Let me break up this science. Speaking of Star Trek,
yeah.
The real life cyborg has 2 fins implanted into his skull so he can sense the weather.
Whoa.
Now, they must mean in some more like, because I can sense, I know it's outside, it's a little drizzly, it's cold. Well, sense the weather. What does that mean, you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that can sense the weather. If you've got like, you know, it's like old folks with
It's 2 fins.
Like that guy.
In their knees? Like in their knees?
Yeah, like if they have arthritis, like they can tell it's going to like, by the change in the pressure, like their joints and shit will start hurting.
Well, it seems, because like, for example, they have the Apple Watch and it's connected to your phone and the phone has updated weather radar stuff. So like if you look at your watch, it'll say like, oh, chance of rain. So like, do you think it just has like a thing in his head that's just like the chance of rain has just increased to 30%? But it's a fin. What does that mean? Fins? What the hell?
Maybe it's got stuff in it that detects like the barometric pressure and the humidity and stuff like that, and then it somehow transmits that data to be like, oh, but it's the same thing. Get a fucking Apple Watch. Get fins.
And why is that necessary? Why he got surgery for this? He's walking around with fins in his head to know it's gonna rain. Like what is the practical?
Better ways. There's so many better ways.
You could teach a pigeon.
Yeah, to tell you. You could teach spinach to tell you it's going to rain.
They're so close, dude. Just wait 10 years, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm spinach. And I'm here to say, God, I just got another email. This fucking Spinach emailed me. It's going to rain. I get it. Yeah, it's raining right now, Spinach.
It's going to rain. It's going to rain. This is Spinach. But
dude, if someone didn't know what you were talking, like, if that was a real service and it was really new, right? And then you got an email from Spinach and you're like just casually like, goddamn Spinach emailing me the weather. They'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
Who's Spinach? No, the vegetable. Spinach, the plant. Where? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I guess everywhere there's spinach.
Yeah, man.
Where's it coming from? Is it coming from a specific spinach or just spinach as a collective? The collective hive mind of spinach.
Oh, that's a good point. I never considered that. Did they teach the concept of spinach to send emails? All spinach can send emails now?
I don't know. Like a whole bunch of, or if it was just one spinach. Because if you could sit down and spend enough time with one spinach, this is crazy people talk to start with. This is what crazy. This is insane. This is crazy talk.
No bad ideas. No bad ideas. We're just here to try to do good.
No bad ideas. I think if you sat down with one spinach every day and taught it, you could get more out of it than trying to teach all spinach. Because there's going to be one fucking stupid ass fucking smart ass spinach that's fucking the class up. We know how that works.
That's so crazy because, yeah, we do. That's us.
Yeah.
That's us. You know how like dogs could be like, everyone's had a smart dog and known as a fucking stupid dog. Mm-hmm. Can like bees be smart? Is there like a smarter bee?
They do smart. I guess everything's smart in its own way.
You always told that story where you battled a spider that thought it could like see into the future.
It totally outwitted me, and not just me, but my buddy Brandon that I lived with, because he kind of was like, yeah, and then like a week or two later, it lived in this little spot, like the separation between the living room and the kitchen, just a room for like a little closet there, so it narrowed down.
Right.
And it was enough that this spider, I like rolled up a envelope or something, was trying to smack it, and it was leaping around so fast. It was like 2 steps ahead of me. At one point, it actually jumped onto my body. And I was like, and then it leapt off, and it just escaped. And I was like, all right, fair play, spider. Fucking, you live here now, I guess. And I told my roommate about it, and he was like, all right, just kind of like, I'm sure it wasn't exactly how you describe it.
What kind of spider was it?
Just a big old jumping spider. It was like pretty good size. It was only the size of a dime, which is pretty big for a jumping spider.
That's big for a jumping spider, yeah.
Yeah, and he was just leaping around, and it would but every time I would swing, like before I could even get anywhere near him, he was already 2 jumps ahead.
That's a thing, though. I mean, don't spiders have one of the fastest reaction times in the animal kingdom?
Yeah, well, I think we read a story about that once, is what made me tell that story. They measured this when it was a type of jumping spider, that its reaction time was so fast that to us, it's almost like it could see the future. That's where the future thing came in. That for us watching it and trying to measure it and react at the same time as this spider, I mean, it was like a 14-year-old Call of Duty player, man. Can't beat him.
You can't beat him.
A week or two later, I came home, and the first thing he said to me was like, dude, I fought that fucking spider. I was like, did you get him? He goes, no. He's like, I couldn't get anywhere close to it. I was like, right? Like, just let him live.
What I love about that, and I mean, maybe this isn't true. Maybe this is even a sexist thought, but the idea of 2 men fighting with a spider, I'm not sure women would put it the same way, or they would even have the same kind of conversation about a spider in the kitchen. But like, you guys were like, I did battle with the spider you were talking about. Yes, the beast is very fast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That feels very masculine to me.
But whenever we were moving out of that place, or from the place we lived before, we were like trying to like hurry and get all of our shit into the U-Haul because like a storm was coming. Our fins went off, and we're like
stand at attention.
Yeah, well, it was just like, that like cool wind starts blowing and like all the leaves turn over on the trees.
Right.
And you're like, oh shit, man, like a big one's coming. And we're in the middle of like loading up this U-Haul. So we're like, quick, like get everything in there. And it was like a race against time. And all of a sudden we looked on the sidewalk. There's like a little wall on the side of the sidewalk. It was this big ass fucking jumping spider sitting there. And it was out on the very edge, like just looking into the oncoming storm. And it was this big, it was like hairy.
Just like, bring it.
Yeah, it was like looking at it like it couldn't wait. And the wind, I was like, look at this fucking spider. And it's just like looking into the storm, and its hair is blowing in the wind like an old man's beard. And we're like, look at that fucking epic spider just like waiting for this fucking storm. And yeah, we're just like, look at this guy. Like he's got like a bandolier of like wasps' heads that he's conquered, and like anyway.
Do you know some spiders can live like 20 something years?
Yeah, some big tarantulas can't they?
Isn't that crazy? You think like you think you've ever seen the same spider twice?
Yeah, I have.
In that situation, probably. But how about like the same bird? You think you've seen the same bird twice?
I wouldn't know.
Let's ease back on the banter. Hold on, let's ease back. We're in strange territory.
We're in stuff we talk to over lunch territory.
In the chat, they said, "Do ducks count?" Yeah, sure.
Seen the same duck? I've seen the same fucking goose before. I used to have to fight that fucker.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, when I lived in Orlando, it was a goose.
You would fight a goose? What was going on when you were battling spiders and geese, going to college, not paying attention in class?
Well, no, every time I would come home, this thing, it laid eggs in the bush right beside our door. So every time you would approach our apartment, it would just come out like fucking, and I nicknamed it Blonker because it'd go blanc, blanc, blanc. And I'd be like, fuck off. And it would, at one point, I grabbed it by the neck and just threw it to get it away because it would like full on attack you. And I was like, I'm done with this today. Like, fuck off. We're just going in the house. Like, you knew we lived here. Why'd you come and lay eggs right here? Like, we'd already been living
He
there.
wasn't around long enough to understand it. He wasn't around long enough.
Yeah, it was a young goose.
It was a young goose. He hasn't put it together yet. Oh, that guy, he's just trying to go in the house.
If that goose is still around, he's probably like, oh, man. I was probably the asshole there.
Maybe you'll get an email from him.
Through the Spinach email service.
Hey, man, my bad. Let's click that article. I mean, I don't even know what else we talked about. Not a lot. Let's just talk. I think we've already learned about the spinach before. Let's learn about it again.
Let's might as well. We'll double down. Maybe they've come up with new stuff. Every now and then we revisit stuff, and they've come like what's up with the like we figured out the guy for like 2 years we were following this guy who was going to get a head transplant.
Oh,
and then he fell in love and decided not to do it. Remember?
Right.
He was like, put my head on another body. Like, I'll be the first person to try it. I'll be famous after I'm dead if it doesn't work. And then he fell in love.
Because he's like,
nah.
yeah, because maybe my life's not even worth living.
Yeah.
And then
he fell in love and was like, yeah, I'm out.
So let's play the card. Let's play the card of this spinach thing.
All right.
Now I clicked it, and let's play the card. In the middle here, it says related links, and it says why shrimps, which first of all, I've never heard them referred to as shrimps. I've heard it in a joking way. Why shrimps are being turned into batteries.
We've become the things from the Matrix.
Now, we've never clicked an article, which then brought us to another. Have we done that? Like, this is, what a new...
Yes, we have. We clicked one. Remember you found that crazy ass, like, it was some kind of like African website or something?
Oh, yes.
Remember you clicked on it, and it just the next thing, it was about the penis.
Bees getting stung by people getting their dicks stuck by, yeah.
And remember the name of the research institute was like the penis getting stung by bees research organization. We're like, all right.
Right. And it was like a story your uncle would tell you. Some guy just wrote this article to get clicks. It was like, we had the study was very serious. Anyway, listen to that episode. That's like, yeah, I think it's called Best Guest.
Is it? Or is it called?
It's weird that we know the titles to these podcasts. What the hell?
It's not called Dicks and Bees. we go
is that
real
an episode?
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Just go back and listen to all of them.
Let's listen to the podcast, boys. Boys support boys. Scientists have taught spinach to send emails, and it could warn us about climate change. It may sound like something out of a futuristic science fiction film, but scientists have managed to engineer spinach plants which are capable of sending emails.
Can you imagine that film? Can you imagine setting through that film, that a sci-fi movie plot based around where spinach sends emails?
Yeah, that would be really boring, wouldn't it? Like, what would that hinge on?
It would either be one of the best things you've ever seen if you're into bullshit, or the most boring, awful.
Which we are. Can you imagine though if, like, how deep does this go? Imagine if spam emails, like it's just spinach. Someone like figures out how to use spinach to do that, but then like they die, or they don't get interested in it, but they can't stop it, so they're like, ah, shit. So then it just becomes a thing where spinach is sending spam emails to a degree that more emails are being sent by spinach than by real people. So then it becomes a situation where someone, I wrote the movie, I think.
You did. It exponentially learns off itself.
So then someone's like getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Right.
We're like, where all these fucking emails come from? They just figured out like we've traced them back. Like there's no source to all these emails. It was like, I don't see them much anymore, but like years ago, whenever your internet or your email wasn't as capable of filtering that shit out, and you would always have to like kind of manually go through them.
Yeah.
Like you would get those ones that was just like AI generated. It probably wasn't AI back then. I don't know what they were using, but it'd just be like, it's almost like blurbs from novels or articles, and it would just be these disconnected ramblings.
Yes. And not even a phishing attempt or anything, not a link to anything. You're like,
no.
What's the point of this?
Like, what is this? It would just be like, blah, blah, blah. There may be a link to something there, but it never told you what it was. But it'd be like 3 paragraphs of just like a couple sentences from a random thing. And then none of it tied together, and none of it made any sense. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
I wonder if that was like early spinach learning. It was it being like, see if somebody understand, you understand. I am spinach.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly. If it just comes out like, oh, yeah, we taught spinach how to do this, and it kind of got out of control, it got away from us, but we figured, what's the harm? It's just spam email. Like, what are you talking about? All spam email comes from vegetables? What are you talking about?
Yeah, maybe that was, oh shit, maybe they are teaching other ones to do it. Was remember one of my favorite spam emails ever, I brought this up before, the one that I got about beans.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It was just telling me that it wasn't selling beans, and it didn't have a clickable clickable link. It was just an email, random email that was just telling me about the benefits of beans. And it was like, did you know that beans are high in fiber and low in fat? Did you know that you could eat more and weigh less than your friends who have no taste in beans? I'm like, thank you, beans.
Are you suggesting that Beans sent you the email?
Yeah, beans is
to get you to eat more beans?
Beans is like, I got a big dick and I got to get it out there. It's like, just been like, hey man, eat beans. I'm beans and I rule.
Can you imagine?
Maybe it's how there's so many bean memes. Unexplainable, inexplicable that there's hundreds of thousands of memes based on beans. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's maple beans. You know what I mean?
I do, but okay, there's a couple things. First of all, if you taught vegetables to do memes.
And it's all beans. It's just beans. We don't know where beans is. Beans may be running the planet and we don't even know it. It got out of hand and they're like, just don't talk about it. What can beans do to us?
I feel like we should write more, like, again, think tank, man. We need to come up with our own conspiracy. You know what I would love? I've always wanted to start a slang word and then have it used by someone I didn't teach it to. Like someone use it in my presence. I'm like, oh shit, I came up with that. Ha. But also,
like Burl.
Also, we should just start like Burl, but we should also start rumors. We should just start well, no, not like ruin people's lives, but
just spread disinformation.
I mean, like conspiracy theories, you know, like you attach a couple little things that are logical, but then you do a couple little leaps, and then you just spread some stuff, and then someone one day is like, oh man, I heard that all spam emails not even from people, it's from Spinach, and I'm like, holy, I said I invented that. They're like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
So we played the card.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what I said. They turned Spinach into sensors capable of detecting explosive materials. It's Spinach can detect bombs, and they send emails about it. They then able to wirelessly relay this information back to scientists. When the spinach roots detect the presence of nitroaromatics in the groundwater, a compound often found in explosive like landmines, the carbon nanotubes within the plant leaves emit a signal. The signal is then read by an infrared camera, sending an alert email to the scientists. So basically,
I'm pretty sure we've talked about this.
We did, exactly. But here's a great quote. This is a novel demonstration of how we've overcome the plant-human communication barrier. We've done it.
No, it's not. You've put human ways to detect shit in a plant.
Yeah, it's basically like you attached a camera to a tree and said that tree takes pictures.
Exactly. But it's taking like a game, like a trail camera. It's exactly what it is. Because if you didn't put the shit in the I keep wanting to say cabbage. If you didn't put the shit in the the next headline, cabbage telepathic. Yeah. Learned it from dolphins.
Says Russia.
Fuck, where was I going with that? Yeah, you'd have to teach. You're just teaching the plant, which that would be impressive. But if you're putting shit,
but you're not teaching a plant anything. You're just making a machine that does something.
Right. What this has to be, it's got to be that there's something about spinach. They're testing this for another application, and spinach is just what happens to work the best. Like we can put these nanotubes into spinach and test if it can do this different shit, like send emails and stuff, because the fibers in spinach are like fucking the something in the human brain. So then later we can implant this stuff in the human brain so we can send emails with our mind. Okay, that's kind of a leap, but
it is a little bit. But I don't know that the spinach. I don't think this.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah.
They've got to be doing it for another reason. But Elon Musk's company they put a implant in a monkey brain that lets it play video games with its mind. There's another one. There's a headline.
There. That just plucked out of the air.
At the very end, like I'm apt to do when we're trying to get out of here, and I'm like, hey, listen to this craziness.
Let's in fact get out of here. That's been another episode of the Royal We. I'm Sam.
We've learned nothing. We've learned Nate, and I've learned nothing.
So what did we even talk about? Maybe we talked about this off air, but wasn't one of your friends be like, I love your podcast, man. I learn something new every week. No, you don't.
Yeah.
If you do, get help.
No, it was my friend Lori. She was like, she's like, I like it. She's like, it's fun and it makes me learn something every week. And I was like, what are you learning?
If you share with us, because we're not learning.
Yeah, friend of the show, Lori.
God damn, I want to thank Shivani for letting us use his song intro /Pathos off the album 151A. I want to thank Captain OCD in chat. If you guys want to join us live, listen to the sausage get made and add your own little secret spices, you guys could do that at twitch.tv/RoyalWeCast. You could also send us headlines to @RoyalWeCast on Twitter or royalwecast@gmail.com.
Jamal.
Jamal.
Doesn't he have a Twitch channel too?
Oh, hell yeah. That's twitch.tv/Captain OCD.
Yeah.
He mostly streams EverQuest, so if you're into that, like maybe one or two of you are, you should go watch him. It's a pretty chill spot.
Yeah.
And also, he probably streams at a time where you might actually watch him, not like us. We're in Asia. What time is it in America right now? Like 1 a.m?
Yeah, I think it's like, well, yeah, time zones.
Time zones, Asia.
Yeah.
Good night, Dad.
Goodbye.
I think that was the right ratio of banter to grease.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, bye.